Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you've joined me today because we are diving into a highly practical, incredibly essential guide for anyone planning a summer wedding in the Houston area. Let's be real, planning a big event is stressful enough on its own. But when you throw the intense Texas summer climate into the mix, well, things get a whole lot more complicated. Today, we're focusing on one of the most visible, highly photographed elements of your big day, which is, of course, your flowers. We're going to break down exactly how to ensure your arrangements look just as stunning at the end of the night as they did the moment you first walked down the aisle. So, will your wedding flowers actually survive the Katy heat? It's a question that taps into a very real, very common anxiety. You're pouring time, emotion, and, quite a bit of money into planning this gorgeous ceremony, maybe even an outdoor one. But that hot, heavy, humid Houston area weather is something you absolutely must plan around. It's a relentless force, especially during the peak afternoon heat. If you don't choose your blooms with that specific climate in mind, the heat will be incredibly hard on your more delicate flowers. Okay, let's dive right into this. To make sure your arrangements stay fresh from the vows to the very last toast, here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the Katy heat factor. Second, blooms that beat the heat. Third, perfect summer color palettes. And finally, planning your floral vision. Starting us off with Section 1, the Katy heat factor. Why the Houston area climate changes everything. This specific combination of hot and humid weather we get in Katy dictates a completely different approach to floral selection. You simply cannot plan a Texas summer wedding using the exact same rulebook as a spring wedding in the Northeast. In cooler climates, those super delicate blooms photograph beautifully, right? You see them all over your Pinterest boards. But in Katy summers, once they're exposed to that warm, heavy air, those same delicate blooms lose their shape and wilt almost immediately. To survive, you require flowers that are naturally adapted to the heat. It's basically the harsh reality of cut flowers exposed to the Texas air versus the fantasy of an online mood board. Because honestly, avoiding the specific scenario is absolutely crucial. A bride holding a wilted, sad-looking bouquet for photos at the end of a July reception is a heartbreaking disaster. But more importantly, it's a completely avoidable one. By being strategic and making the right flower selections early on in the planning stage, you can absolutely guarantee that your florals hold up. Let's move right along to Section 2, Blooms that Beat the Heat, 7 Resilient Flowers for Summer Weddings. It is time to introduce the real heroes of our explainer. These are the specific varieties local experts trust to actually withstand those warm, humid conditions. Take the sunflower, for example. These guys are nature's warm weather specialists. They were literally made for the summer sun. Sunflowers stubbornly hold their shape in the heat without needing any special handling, and they bring this incredible, bold, cheerful energy. They photograph so beautifully outdoors, which makes them absolutely ideal for a relaxed Katy garden wedding. Now, if you want to lean into a bold, exotic energy, tropical flowers are literally built for the Houston area climate. Think of varieties like anthuriums, birds of paradise, and tropical lilies. They are right at home in the humidity. Once they're cut, they last incredibly well, holding their vibrant color through a full, long day. They add this lush, dramatic quality that works perfectly whether you're setting as an indoor ballroom or out on a patio. But what if you prefer a softer, garden-style aesthetic? Well, that's exactly where dahlias step in. They offer a gorgeous, full, layered look. And what's really fantastic about them is that they come in a massive range of colors. Plus, when they're properly conditioned by a professional before the event, they bring some much-needed durability. They hold up far better than many of the softer blooms you might initially be tempted to choose. For a touch of high elegance, you really cannot go wrong with orchids. Orchids are incredibly long-lasting, and they handle warm conditions without any trouble at all. Available across a full spectrum of colors, they are remarkably consistent and reliable choice for formal summer weddings. They're going to look just as pristine at the end of the reception as they did before the ceremony even began. Now, if you simply must have roses, garden roses are definitely the way to go. They are a much more resilient alternative to your standard hybrid varieties. They hold their shape so much better in the heat, and as a huge bonus, their fuller, more layered appearance gives your arrangements a beautifully soft, romantic quality that just fits perfectly into almost any summer color palette. Very similar to the garden rose in aesthetic is the ranunculus. These are gentle summer blooms with a wonderfully soft, layered appearance. They're an excellent choice for brides wanting that traditional romantic look, but who need a solid option other than a standard rose. Plus, they're available in gentle summer tones that just photograph beautifully in natural light. And rounding out our list of resilient choices, we have calla lilies. They are structured, they're clean, and they stubbornly hold their sleek shape through a long, hot day. That makes them incredibly reliable in the heat. Because of those clean lines, they easily suit a huge range of wedding styles, seamlessly fitting into anything from a modern minimalist design to a classic, highly formal affair. All right, moving to section 3, perfect summer color palettes, making resilient flowers look beautiful. So picking the right colors is just as vital as picking the flowers themselves, especially when you consider the bright summer light we get in Katy. Now, what's really interesting about this is how you can perfectly map your desired wedding vibe to the specific heat-resistant flowers we just talked about. If you're going for a warm and bright, natural summer feel outdoors, you'll want peach, coral, and yellow tones, utilizing sunflowers, tropicals, and dahlias. If you want a timeless, soft, and neutral look, you go with white, cream, and blush, using orchids, garden roses, and calla lilies. And for a rich evening reception, plum and deep burgundy tones using dahlias and roses look absolutely phenomenal under warm lighting. Ultimately, you have to remember that color selection matters just as much as flower choice. A successful floral design is really a marriage between the physical durability of the flower and the visual contrast of its color. The right palette is going to photograph incredibly well in that bright catty summer light and read clearly whether you're standing outdoors or dancing in a dimly lit reception venue. Which brings us to our final section, Section 4, planning your floral vision, working with local experts. Knowing which flowers and colors to pick is fantastic, of course, but actually executing this knowledge requires a bit of help. 55. What does that number mean? Well, it represents the over 55 years that Floral Concepts has been operating as a family-owned florist in the Houston area. They were founded way back in 1969. That is over half a century of specifically navigating Houston's weather, designing wedding flowers for Katy, Cinco Ranch, and beyond. They know exactly how much these summer conditions matter, simply because they've seen it firsthand for decades. And when you work with experts who have that kind of tenure, they provide full-day floral services. They don't just drop off a box of flowers at the door and wish you luck. They handle the entire visual scope of your day, from the bridal bouquets and bridesmaids arrangements to the ceremony arch, the altarpieces, and the reception centerpieces. Crucially, they do on-site day of setup. This ensures that the heat doesn't ruin any specific arrangement before your guests even arrive. And the process to get there is incredibly straightforward. It starts with a simple conversation. Step 1, you share your palette, your venue, and your budget. Step 2, you provide your inspiration photos. Show them exactly what you love. And step 3, their design team takes all that information and builds your arrangement from scratch. It is so easy to translate your vision into a heat-proof reality when you just follow these steps with a pro. But I do have one very critical piece of advice for you. Summer weekends in the Katy and Houston area fill up so fast. You need to secure your florist early. Getting a florist locked in well in advance is the absolute key to securing the exact summer blooms you want, and it gives you maximum flexibility on flower availability. Do not wait until the last minute and accidentally limit your choices. I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought to reflect on as you plan your big day. Have you chosen your wedding blooms for the Katy climate or just for the Pinterest board? Because remember, a beautiful photo online will not stop a delicate flower from wilting in the July heat. Prioritize climate-friendly choices, work with the right local experts, and your flowers will be as stunning and resilient as the love you're celebrating. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy planning!